I wore my D&D shirt in honor of you, Drew.
I appreciate that. I was going through my shirts that I was going to wear today to this thing, and I went past 4 D&D shirts, and I just found this plain blue one, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to. I don't know if I want the internet to know who I am.
You
I'm
also
just
don't
a
want to
cool
be.
kid.
You don't want to be too cool for us. You don't want to be like,
Oh, these freaking nerds. Can we curse on
Also,
here?
Yeah, of course. We can
Cool.
curse on here.
All right.
This is YouTube.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
We're in the Wild West.
YouTube,
Yeah.
more like F YouTube. Am I right?
Oh, slingers.
Oh, God,
You're on a roll, Drew, already.
Yeah, call me Butter because I'm on a roll.
He's got jokes. He's got jokes.
With that, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blackwolves podcast. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. I've realized that I use ladies and gentlemen way too much. Welcome, folks, to the Blackwolves podcast. I, as always, am your host, Logan Riley Bruner.
Hey, what up? I'm Jacob Wade.
And hello there. My name is Drew Burt.
And he is our special guest for this week, our special co-host, Drew Burt. Mr. Burt, thank you so much for joining us on this lovely little podcast.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me on.
We would love if you could introduce yourself and maybe tell the folks at home a little bit about you, how you know us, how you got started with our little wolf pack.
100%. Well, my name is Drew Burt. I am a voice actor. I do a little bit of on-camera work as well. I've done a lot of writing recently. So much writing. Anyway, I have thought about this for the past 2 weeks, Logan. For the life of me, I cannot remember how we met. I can't. I'm like, okay, so did we meet at a party? Did we meet on set? Because all three of us went to school together.
Yep.
And I met Jacob through you. Jacob, I can remember the first time you and I actually hung out. We went to see some movie. I think it might have been
It had to be.
I feel like it was
Marvel movie.
Infinity War. Yeah, I think it was
be.
Infinity War. My third time watching Infinity War in the theater. But yeah, I think we went to go see Infinity War together. But Logan, I cannot remember how we met. Do you remember?
Honestly, no. It's kind of it's a crossover between our friends introduced us, we saw each other at a party, or we worked on a show together. Because we've done all three of those around the same time. So I don't know which one was the start of it. One of the earliest memories I have of us together is me and you just in the corner at this party for a show called Hell House that had happened at Purchase. Just shooting the shit and just having a great time.
I was wasted that night.
So was I.
Oh man, that was not only the show of the Hell House, that was also the week before Tech Week for the main stage production, which was my I was counting as my senior project. So I was.
And that was a party that had what came to be lovingly known as the gin bucket. So no one was sober that night.
I don't know what's more terrifying, the fact that it was there or the fact that I don't remember that it was there.
Yeah,
but
scary.
I remember I was I've been hungover 3 times in my life. That was I think the second time and easily the worst time. Not only because I drank a lot and I was stupid, but also because I had to get up for first day of Tech Week the next morning. And I walk in and the stage manager comes up to me and just goes, "Are you hungover right now?" And I was like, "I think I am. In fact, I think I still might be a little drunk." And she was like, "Okay, sit down. I'm going to get you some water and some Gatorade. And yeah, relax. I'm not going to tell anyone about this. Just sit."
That's super sweet.
I was like, "Oh my God, thank you."
Good SM.
And this was for your senior project?
This was for Orestes 2.0, which was a time. That was a time.
It was.
You did that with fellow collective member Michael Jorge.
I did indeed. Fellow collective member Michael Jorge portraying Apollo, who was also the president of the United States at the time. Which was
it was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
My Latino best friend play an orange demagogue.
It was hilarious because there's this thing at the end of the show where everyone runs out on stage and just starts dancing. like
God.
like before curtain call, and I still have this clear picture of Mikey in my mind. He's still got the fucking blonde wig, and he's going like, and it makes me die every
It's
time I
just
think of it.
imprinted onto your mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think of it every night before I go to sleep, and I laugh.
Right. Wow. Memory unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remembered seeing that play as the name of it came out of your mouth.
Like you see like the whole show in front of you and you're like, oh wow.
It just went by in a flash, and I was like, whoa, I saw that play.
I remember hearing a story about that show that one of the actors had to lay on a gurney for the entirety of the first act. And so he's like chilling during a run through and they get to his cue line because he's supposed to like jump up and like yell something. I think the line he's supposed to get up and yell is actually sluts.
That is not the line he was supposed to say.
Got
that
it.
was a later line.
Got it. So he thought they were later in the show. He's supposed to get up and say something and he had fallen asleep. And so they're in the middle of this run through, and I've heard from Mike that someone just like went over and tapped him, and like he realized he fell asleep, and just first thing that came to his head, he just popped up and yelled, "Sluts!"
We're not there yet, but I dig the enthusiasm.
Great work, buddy. Let's take it back a little bit.
It's fucking awesome. There's also this great memory I have from that show. That show was a ride, but I have a lot of good memories from it. One of the other actors, my good friend Addison Jenkins, we were hanging out backstage, and we were just kind of like chilling because we both kind of came in around the same time. And there's this one part where the nurses come out who are supposed to be like the Greek Furies. And they come out to like this to Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics. And Addison and I kind of lean over to each other and just goes, "Sweet dreams are made of bees. Oh my God, there's fucking bees."
We love a good Nick Cage joke.
Oh, it's funny. Not the bees! Ah! Yeah, anyway.
We love a good inside joke during a show too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you're doing a show and you get the repetition and it's all night after night, you're getting in the rhythm of the show.
Riding.
And you're so comfortable that while you're off stage, you can like joke with your pal about like something going on stage right now. And it's a great feeling. I love that like cast camaraderie and like, it's a great experience being part of like a cast. I feel like we probably would have had that with DNA had it gone up during college.
Yes.
And had we been able to have like a cast party, probably would have gotten there.
Yeah. I was the outsider though, because I was directing. So there's still that sense of like the cast and the director.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but at the same time, it's also like you're all friends, so like there's still the idea of like going out and having drinks with your boss, but also like it is possible, I have found, to leave all of that in the auditorium. Like as soon as you step out, you are back to just being like, not to remark on power dynamic, but like the director says what to do and the actors follow suit. They
work on it, you know.
And like, so it's kind of like just barely like this. And I'm saying this as an actor. I have never directed before in my life, so maybe I'm not the most well-versed, but as soon as you step out of that auditorium, it can go back to being this.
Oh, it definitely can. I think there's a lot of directors that like to maintain that power dynamic. Like I've met a lot of directors that hold that like, I am the supreme, I'm allowed to be late, but you're not, you're running on my time shit. And I'm not into that. Me and Jacob have worked together on 3 or 4 different plays, and every time we have that relationship of like, in the room we're gonna do the work, but the moment the rehearsal is done, we're just gonna go hang out and like do our thing.
Yeah, I think the last time I felt that cast camaraderie was actually in high school.
Yeah I feel
Grand.
like if I'm thinking high school, I'm thinking Midsummer.
I was thinking one of the musicals.
Well, yeah, that's also like, that's the difference between forcing a class to do a show as a class and asking people to audition for something.
Right. There's a big difference between like telling a group of people, you're going to be doing a show in the spring, and so start gearing up for that, versus like, hey, entire school, we're going to be doing a show in the spring. who wants to be in it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a very different experience.
Originally, they had one musical and one drama every year. The musical kids would do the musical and the drama kids would do the drama. But then the administration, which I understand, decided that the same people were in the show every year. And so we need to give more kids the opportunity to do this. The problem becomes that there are people who didn't want to. And the option of, I don't want to do this show, so I'm not going to like hurt other people's time, was never made. It was like, well, we don't care if you don't want to do the show, you're doing it. Which I get. You're running a drama program. You want your drama students to act in shows. But when people just don't want to do it, you end up with shows where things struggle a lot and people start to get kind of disenchanted with the process.
I guess that makes sense. It's just like, I guess the one that really gets me is I think you said that some didn't want to be there because they were professional working actors.
Yeah.
Forgive my naivete again. If you're a professional working actor, why are you here? Like,
well, that's the point of the school.
Constantly need to keep learning. Always keep learning. I get that. But if you are miserable where you are, why are you still there?
I'll explain. The professional performing arts school does this thing where if you are a working performer and you have to work and miss school, they will not count it as an absence, and they'll count it as being on location, which means that you were working.
You're at a job.
So it's not considered an absence on your final record.
Yeah, it's one of the only schools in the city that does that because they like understand that there are working actors that are like 15, 16. We had a lot of kids that were like in The Lion King on Broadway or just Matilda on Broadway. Or, yeah, it was a lot of the Broadway kids that would be like, okay,
Billy Elliot,
I have 6 shows this week. I'm going to be on set. There were people that I met halfway through the year that showed up that I was like, oh, you've been on a show this entire year. That's why this is your 3rd day of school.
Wow.
And it's February. So yeah, professional performing arts school did that a lot. I think professional performing arts school was the public school option for working artists. There were other schools like Professional Children's School, which is the private school version. And then there were a couple others like it that are kind of the like, pay to come here and you don't have to show up to school. If you're working as an actor, just go do your thing and we'll help you out.
Pay to come where?
PCS.
PCS, yeah.
Yeah, PPAS, it was, we're a public school and you get accepted, but if you're working, go work. Which was a great option for me because at the time I was doing like 1 show every year and I needed to get out of school for like tech week or rehearsals or matinees. And I couldn't have my teachers being like, well, we're going to fail you because you're missing 17 days of class because you're working. So that's the thing with people who are working professionally.
I don't claim to be the forefront of, knowing this sort of thing because, believe it or not, I did not go to a performing high school. I went to Hicksville, New York City. No, not city, but Hicksville, New York. We had a public school and that was it. That's all I got. So I don't know. Like Logan, when you first told me that you were a professional working actor, like first time ever, I was like, wow, he's really young. And then I found out and I was like, oh, even younger. Okay. Yeah. Where I'm from, if like some people are 16 and are on their 2nd child.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a whole new world to me.
To discover that like I had been an actor before Jacob had worked for the Metropolitan Opera, like that, I think that was the thing that shell shocked me was I met Jacob as this like really silly, goofy, like fun, excited dude that I just knew as like, oh, this is the class clown Jacob. And then like 3 years later, you offhandedly were like, oh yeah, I was in The Magic Flute with Julie Taymor. And I was like, I'm sorry. Can we take like 5 steps back really quickly? You did what with who?
I did that back in 2006.
2006, yes. Baby Jacob.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Jacob was working before I was.
Ridiculous.
Okay, I didn't know that.
You learn something new every
learning
day.
new things.
It's not something that I like put on a t-shirt and like
Advertise.
advertise, but the reason that I went to PPAS for middle school was that I couldn't miss any more public school due to like leaving and going to rehearsals and fittings and performances. Like,
Yeah.
Damn.
yeah.
Well,
So if you're watching this and you have a child um, who loves performing, PPAS is the way to go.
Definitely.
I'm still gonna rep it.
Yeah,
This
they
is a
they
great
definitely
experience.
do really great things for people, and they have some really caring teachers that I really think helped me get through anything that I was like frustrated about. Shout out Ari and Moyad. Shout out Greg Parenti and Casey McClellan. Shout out Sue Sabatino.
Drew, you said you've been writing some things.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I would
indeed
like to
have.
hear about this because I'm interested. What are
Well-
you
Also, the only writing Jacob hears about is from me. And it's just the same script over and over. Let's get some variety in here.
Fair enough. For actually about a year now, I've been attached to this project that I don't know how much I can actually say, but I will give as much as I know I can. I've been attached to this project that is going to be, because I am not, I before this, I would not describe myself as a writer simply because of my lack of experience and not really like writing out like script wise. Like I write like silly stories and stuff like that. Logan, you're in my D&D game. I have several stories that I have like written out in my head
Right.
and like taken down like as point notes. So when I was approached as a writer for this, I was like, yeah, I'll go for it. It's going to be a podcast that is going to be like an audio drama. It's really exciting. Like there's not going to really be a narrator. It's going to be like story told specifically through like sound effects and the actors and everything like that.
It's like listening to a movie.
Exactly. Yes. Except there are also like ways of kind of talking about like what just happened for like people who are like, I'm listening to this, I can't really tell what's happening, like I can't really tell what sound effect that is. And then like the next line, it's just like, why did you or it's much more smooth than this, but if they hear like shattering, maybe the next line will be like, oh, you dropped your glass of water or something like that. So it's way smoother and way better than that.
Right.
But it's been really super interesting to write this way because I have written like in classes at SUNY Purchase College. 2 thumbs up. I have written scripts that have done with like stage direction and very visual. With this, there has been no visual. It's been strictly audio. So it's really interesting to write that way. So basically the premise of the show is it's like the X-Files, but with mythology and folklore instead of aliens.
I like that.
Like it's really cool. Like we go over like some like it's kind of like a monster of the week sort of thing.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so much fun to write. And there's of course an overarching plot and everything like that. But what's really fun is that it's going to be a few episodes. The first season, hopefully we get a second, but the first season is going to be a few episodes, and I was granted to write 2 episodes, which has been a lot of fun, but it's also been a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because I did not know how much work it has been. Like we went through a process of writing out the outline for each episode and what the monster is going to be, and then they were like there's 4 of us in the writer's room, and the head writer just said, okay, go off and write this. And I said, cool. And I sat down and I did. And I mean, it's my own fault. Like it was due on a Wednesday and I didn't start till the Sunday beforehand. So my own fault, but also I didn't really know exactly how to write it. Like until I saw some examples from the previous episodes
Okay.
that were written. So that was a lot of fun, but also it was 3 straight days of going to my day job, coming home at 3:30,
Right.
sitting at the computer typing until like 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was
Unless you got a surprise audition.
In
exactly,
which case,
exactly. Unless I got an audition sent to me from my manager, which is like, okay, I have to do that, and that's usually about an hour process or so.
Right. You're like, I'll do
Which,
that when I take a break from writing.
yeah,
When I need
exactly,
to like stretch my fingers, I'll just work my
exactly.
voice. Yeah.
And God, that's been a lot of fun. But it's been great. And what's even better is that we're going over like the classic, like fairy tale folklore, like vampire, werewolf, et cetera.
Mhm.
But we're also going over one of my personal favorites, because it's from my heritage, is a creature called the Dullahan, which is basically like the Irish headless horseman, and he's way worse
yep.
Nice.
than the Sleepy Hollow headless horseman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The
I won't
Irish
go.
knew how to do it right.
Yes, they did. They were vicious. But I won't go too into it. I will say that instead of a sword and chopping your head off, the Dullahan has a whip made of a human spine and blinds you.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all I got. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want
Okay.
to. I don't want to get in trouble. But
Well,
That's great.
I'll. You've given me a perfect transition, Mr. Burt. On the topic of getting in trouble and on similar characters,
master of segues.
I would love to talk about the one topic that I have for you guys this week. Drew, I think you know a little bit about this. Jacob, I'm very interested in your opinion because you're not really a part of the D&D community. And so this is going to be kind of a strictly copyright situation when it comes to you. So, to give some people a little bit of background, there's a show on YouTube called Critical Role. It is known as an actual play show, which means it is a group of actors who sit down to play Dungeons and Dragons. They actually play the game. They do 4-hour episodes. They've been running for 5 or 6 years now. They started a new campaign called Exandria Unlimited. They have a bunch of new players on Exandria Unlimited. One of them is named Amy Carrero. She's a really great actress. She's really funny. She's really passionate about the game. And she created a character named Opal. In the first episode, it was revealed that Opal was a class known as a warlock, and that she had opalescent hair and wore an opal gem around her neck, which was how she got the name Opal. There was a bunch that would later be revealed about this character, but for this story, that's what you need to know.
Okay.
On the other hand, there is a person on D&D TikTok named FreckledHobo. FreckledHobo is a creator on the D&D sphere who has about 1 million followers. And she claimed when the first episode of Exandria Unlimited came out that Amy had stolen her character. She said that she had created this character in January when Exandria Unlimited came out in June, that she had been running cosplays and art and a whole campaign as this character, and that it was a direct one-to-one ripoff. A couple things. First, FreckledHobo is a white woman. Amy Carrero is a Latina woman. So there's that. Second, FreckledHobo, it turns out, in the artwork that she was using for Opal, was using stolen artwork that she had never given artists credit for. So she had been running this stream with stolen artwork based around her characters and the moments from the stream and not giving any of the artists credit. So she came down kind of hard on for that. Third, Opal, as FreckledHobo's character, had been running for 5 months since January. Amy created her character of Opal around the same time, in a hidden way because they were planning the series. But when Opal was created, there was never any indication that Opal's race was different from the race of her player. However, now FreckledHobo is saying that Opal is a person of color, which is not something that she has said in the past, and is now saying it because the Opal in Critical Role is a person of color.
Now, are both characters named Opal?
Yes.
Okay.
Finally, FreckledHobo reached out to Critical Role and said that that they were stealing her character, all of this stuff, contacted legal team, and she said that they could either give her credit on the show as the creator of the character, or they could offer her a guest star role on one of the episodes, and that she would move on from there.
Okay.
Those are
First
the
of all,
facts.
could you imagine how awkward that would be?
Those are the facts as they currently sit, and as I have heard them. Thoughts?
Okay, well, let's hear Drew's thoughts first because I am not in this world. I'm just an outsider. So let me hear I want to hear a second person who's in the world, their opinion, and then I will go.
Certainly. So a couple things. Okay, so first thing is that not only was the Exandria Unlimited cast creating their characters for months, but also these episodes that are getting put out weekly are pre-recorded. I am not entirely sure how long ago they were recorded. It could have been a month, could have been several months, could have been a week. I have no idea. So the idea that they had created these characters around the same time, do we know how long FreckledHobo had been putting out like TikToks of her character?
Since January.
Since January. Okay. So I mean, that's probably around the time when Amy Carrero was
Made the character.
making her character. And as a D&D player, everyone pulls inspiration from everything. I mean, I have a character that I call a fusion of Jaskier and Geralt of Rivia into one person.
Well, there you go. You're giving credit.
True.
They've also both said that the character of Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek was an inspiration for the character.
Oh.
Each of them has said that
Okay.
they used Alexis Rose as an inspiration, which is another thing that FreckledHobo says that Amy Carrero stole from her.
Did Amy Carrero say that before FreckledHobo? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because I feel like I could see let me preface this. I am a huge Critical Role fan.
Right.
And I'm really trying to not look at this from a biased perspective. And so I feel like it could also be a thing of like, of like Amy Carrero saying, "Oh, my character was inspired by Alexis from Schitt's Creek," and then the other one goes, "Oh yeah, mine too," like hopping on top of that. That being said, I think that like from what I know of how the Critical Role cast puts themselves out, they don't seem like the people that would steal from another independent creator, I might add. In the past they have shown so many times where it's like, yes, I would like to thank this person for the music that they made for this final battle. I would like to thank this person for the art. I would like to do this. I'd like to do that. And there was like one time where I think it was like when they first started, where they used art that I didn't ask the artist about. Like the artist did it for them, but didn't ask the artist if they could use it. And since then, that art has been like blotted out in the videos. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe they came forward about it when they first started out.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
So all past evidence suggests that they give credit where credit is due.
Right.
On the other hand, speaking as a Critical Role fan, I think there are several people who are so toxic towards the Critical Role cast, which is why I stay off Twitter. But they always like harp on the smallest things and try to get some things that don't really, that they don't really have a say in. So like your character looks like that character. And honestly, speaking as D&D as well, there's a slew of independent, very unique characters. That being said, there are also several copies.
Yeah.
like, and even down to the white hair. Both Opal's hair has white hair. You know who else has white hair? My character in my game. Addison's character in my game. This character in that game. Geralt of Rivia. White hair is not that weird. White long hair is especially not that weird. And the name Opal also is like unique enough to where it's like not everyone is naming their character Opal, but like, some people have that name.
I think the thing for me is all of the points that were made are very general trope character designs. Like, I want my character to wear an opal gemstone because I like Steven Universe. So I'm going to also give them opal hair and name them Opal because I think that's cool. And they're going to be a warlock who I'm going to play a little bit angsty. Those are all super general, like, this could hit 30,000 characters. It's the things underneath that, the interior character life, the backstory, that like, that's where you get into the nitty gritty of like who's who. And I haven't seen either Freckled Hobo or the Exandria Unlimited series, but from what I've heard from the rest of D&D TikTok, once the series started rolling, Amy's Opal was very different than Freckled Hobo's Opal. That the first episode, she kind of played into that socialite, I'm an idiot, I'm a ditzy Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek. But after that, it very quickly fell into a very different energy. And so to say this person stole my character after one episode, that then very quickly seems like, oh no, they didn't. You guys just had kind of similar ideas. And this now seems like a cash grab, is like, that's my issue with it. Is if someone could turn around and be like, she's named Opal, has opalescent hair, is a warlock, and she said that her mother got stabbed by a badger, which is the exact same thing that happened to my character's mother, then I'd be like, okay, now this is weird. This is no longer a coincidence. But yeah, that's my kind of 2 cents on it. Jacob?
It seems to me like she is making her own character. It doesn't seem like she's playing someone else's character from an outside perspective. I don't like the way that Freckled Hobo is going about this situation, attacking Critical Role and kind of issuing an ultimatum where they can only choose one of 2 options to
they chose neither.
Right? But like, this could have been settled in so many different ways, that to like issue that kind of like ultimatum where like, either way, I'm gonna come out on top and win this. Like,
yeah,
it's not like that. Like,
it's also like hilarious to be like, yeah, I'm pissed. You stole my character. The only way I'll forgive you is if you let me on your show, pretty please.
Yeah, that's that, and that's the thing that lost a lot of people who like had her back, was people were like, oh, okay.
yeah,
So this isn't about credit. This isn't, and it's that plus she stole a bunch of art from people that like she still hasn't given credit to.
Yeah.
Is your whole thing is they're stealing from you. And your response is, oh, I stole other people's stuff that I'm not going to talk about. And on top of that, I want to be a part of their thing. This person in the past has also apparently said that she's friends with Matt Mercer and Marisha Ray, and like has hung out with all of them and like all of this stuff. So there's a lot of people being like, this person might be a pathological liar and just making things up now to try and protect her case. But
define hung out.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Like, I could say I hung out with Matt Mercer. I went up to him and I got his autograph. Does that count? Like, sure, I guess. I also think TikTok has done something, for as great as it is. I love TikTok. I'd spend hours on it. It brings me joy. But for all the good, there has definitely been an evolution out of TikTok of, I think, people thinking that they are more important and or more relevant and or more viewable than they are. I think to say that like this multi-million-dollar operation, someone was scrolling through TikTok one day and saw a D&D TikTok creator's cosplay as their character and said, I'm gonna steal that for a multi-million-dollar show, is just so far-fetched, it's stupid. Yeah, Amy might have seen this character. There is a possibility that Amy spotted this character and just didn't realize it and recreated portions of the character. I can run with that, fine. But I think there is a sense amongst TikTokers of like, I have 1 million followers. You have to have seen this video. So you stole it from me, versus like, well, I'm a part of a relatively small community that has a pretty intense fandom, but is pretty small. Like the D&D TikTok community is not a huge monolith of like creators. It's kind of like 30 of them. And then there's like the people underneath them who are doing cool stuff, but not like the main creators. And so I think to say that like someone who has been an actor for like 30 years and who knows how character and copyright works, and B is being hired by one of the biggest channels on YouTube
/ one of the biggest independent production companies in Hollywood right now, there's not a chance that they would risk that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The idea that like something like this could undermine their entire thing is also like, I have a feeling that there are like people out there who are trying to like cancel Critical Role.
Of course.
And I'm just like, okay, but why? Like,
yeah, literally why?
The biggest criticism I've heard for Critical Role is that they're all white.
But they're not.
With their new spinoff, the new Exandria Unlimited, they brought in non-white actors.
mm-hmm.
So that kind of canceled that criticism.
And there have also been in the past, like there have been, oh man, I'm trying to think, but I know that at least at one point they brought in guest characters of guest actors of color. Like Kari Payton is one.
I mean, Abria Iyengar is running the game.
Exactly. So yeah, I've heard that criticism as well.
But that's really the only thing that I've ever heard to cancel Critical Role is that they don't have enough people of color on the show. And that is like, okay, I can see that, but let's maybe build a show that does have those POC and support that rather than let's cancel Critical Role because it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hopefully this all gets worked out. It seems like it is, honestly. D&D TikTok has very much turned against FreckledHobo, which was really like the last line of defense that she had. The thing that I feel bad for is the campaign that Opal was a part of has had to cancel because the DM and the other players were getting such threats about her.
No.
And so they had to cancel their show. Yeah. And so like people were going after them being like, why are you playing with this person? Why are you guys stole art. You're doing XYZ. Like, yeah.
Can we talk about cancel culture for a little second?
Let's do it, Jacob.
Second.
Let's do it.
Just a hot second. Cancel culture to me is a little ridiculous. I don't agree with the fact that like one person can claim one thing and then suddenly because of like virality, is that how you pronounce the word? Is that even a word? But like,
yeah, I think you're good.
Because of trends and like
Twitter,
TikTok, it's become so easy to jump on a bandwagon and just sail away. Like I feel like people can totally validly be called out on their bullshit, right?
100%.
And I think that the appropriate response to that is to give them a chance to acknowledge what they've done, talk about like why it was wrong and why like they understand that
they shouldn't do it.
They are being under like scrutiny for something and why they shouldn't do it again. And then they don't do it again. And that's how we move on in the world. It's not by like canceling someone and dissecting every single movement they've made in order to build a case against them and then bring down someone, like attaching an anchor to someone and just like
dragging them down. That also could very well depend on what the crime was, quote unquote
crime, but like every like like things that are not even misdemeanors are now like crimes.
Yeah, I think it's the difference between like Harvey Weinstein and James Gunn. Like James Gunn dropped a bunch of tweets 9 or 10 years ago that are very problematic. They're like child murder jokes and like sexual assault jokes. It's like really bad. And James Gunn has come out repeatedly and been like, I apologize for this. This was not okay. I was a completely different person. I was young and I was an idiot. And I remember like 3 years ago, people brought those tweets up after he had already apologized for them and Marvel fired him. And then a bunch of people went, well, what did you want him to do? He apologized. He's said that he shouldn't have done it. He's not done anything like it again. Do we base people's entire lives over mistakes they made when they were 20? Because in that case, then we got a lot of people that are making movies right now that shouldn't be making movies.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at that. And then James Gunn went and directed Suicide Squad and Marvel hired him back for Guardians 3. So
that's actually like kind of one of my favorite stories of like a fandom coming together. Like after James Gunn got hired, the entire cast of Guardians of the Galaxy like basically wrote a letter that said, he's great. This is why he's great. We know him better than you guys do because
Yeah.
we have worked with him for all hours of the day. And everyone in the cast signed it. Like all the Guardians, everyone, like side characters. And there were still people who were like, oh, they're all bad too. And then eventually the fandom came together and was like, listen, guys, listen, Marvel. This is why you need to do this. Why you need to
Bring him
why he
back.
needs to come back. And they hired him back. I think before he was approved for Suicide Squad.
I think
they
he
hired
had
him back.
just been approved for Suicide Squad, because I think had he been
Okay.
hired back before he was approved, he wouldn't have gotten approved. Because I think he had like just started Suicide Squad and they were like, we want you back. And he was like, fine, but I'm finishing this movie because I want to make this movie and I'm going to make it. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. You guys fired me. You should have thought about this. But yeah, I think there's also, like you were saying, Jacob, the virality of cancelization is we only get to see a fragment of people's personalities and lives. Like I've been lucky to work on some sets with some people who are like really, really cool. And like the difference between the way that people portray themselves on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and interviews, and the way they are as like human beings, like in a space, are two very different things. Like whether or not you're a superstar or you're like just a regular person, the way we outwardly portray is so different. And so like I think there's very much been a culture of like, oh, I've been following James Gunn on Twitter for 5 years, so I know him. No, you don't.
Yeah, no, you don't.
You know what maybe 0.05% of his thoughts are that he's decided to put out. You don't know what he's like during his day. You don't know what he's like to say hi to. Like, you know him as a face on a screen.
Right.
So there is this sense of like, well, I know this guy and I know he's problematic. It's like you've seen him tweet some stuff. And that stuff was problematic, sure. But let's get down to the heart of like who people are. But also, like Jacob, kind of like you were saying, canceling is such a weird fucking era. It's like what is the end game of canceling someone? Is it this person goes away forever and we just pretend they never exist? Is it we let them go for a couple years and check back in on them? Like, I don't think anyone has really come up with what the shelf life on cancelization is.
Well, yeah, I think it's like, it's public humiliation. It's like if you watch The Handmaid's Tale, you know, putting people up on the wall.
Shame. It's the shame walk in Game of Thrones.
Yes. And it's different for everyone. You know, some people are canceled and they bounce right back. Other people, like, I was just thinking about Chrissy Teigen, who was canceled for online bullying years ago over Twitter, or maybe it was on her TV show where she said something like "kill yourself," and now years later is being like brought back into the sphere, and she has not been on social media for like a good year. So
it's a weird it's a very weird thing.
And I understand you shouldn't be saying shit like "kill yourself" online.
Correct.
Yeah. You should not be saying that to another human being.
Correct.
But like, you know, especially like this country is such a weird place where like at a time "kill yourself" was abbreviated to KYS, and it was like
a joke.
So rough. It's a rough land we live in.
It is indeed. Transitioning from sad art and cancelization to new art and things coming out, there are a couple movies that I would like to talk about this week that are coming out before we jump into the things that we've been watching.
Sounds good.
Brilliant.
There are some cool movies coming out that I am intrigued by. So there's How It Ends, which is a very COVID movie. It's an apocalypse movie about the end of the world. I watched the trailer for it, and pretty much everybody is like 6 feet apart from each other, so it's so obvious that it was shot during
it's a COVID movie. Yeah.
It was directed and written by a woman, Zoe Lister-Jones. It was also co-directed and written by Daryl Wine, but he's a white man, so he's less important. Moving on from there, Troll Hunter Rise of Titans is the newest Troll Hunter movie. Guillermo del Toro, of course, the original creator of Troll Hunter. That looks super cool. Old, which is the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, which I think looks intriguing.
Okay, that actually looks really good.
It looks
I'm-
really good.
I'm hoping it's good. I'm hearing some mixed things, which is what I hear every time a new M. Night Shyamalan movie comes out. So we'll see what happens.
I don't think that M. Night Shyamalan is the best, but I will say that I think that Alex Wolff has done a great job
Yes.
recently, just in general.
Yes. I totally agree. I will be the first to admit, because I've told Jacob about this, I hated the Naked Brothers band. I hated it with a passion that burned like the sun, and I thought Alex Wolff was the most annoying, shit-eating fucker that I had ever seen. And then I saw him in Hereditary, and I was like, you know what? I take all of it back.
Holy shit.
A great performance. Yes. Naked Brother Alex Wolff is that horror movie actor.
Naked Brothers fan Nat Wolff is that Nat Wolff.
I had no idea.
Yeah, right? It's weird to think about.
I watched Hereditary and I was like, where'd this kid come from? I like him. And then,
Naked Brothers
then I
fan.
see him in a couple other things. I'm like, oh, there's that guy again.
He's
And
so
now I'm like,
good.
continue while I have an existential crisis over here.
We've also got Snake Eyes, which is the new G.I. Joe spinoff, which kind of looks like just a ninja movie that's had G.I. Joe thrown on top of it, which, you know what, I'm okay with. Female writer, Drew, geek out.
Yes. Okay. So I will be the first to admit I have not seen any of the live action G.I. Joe movies. I watched the cartoon like crazy when I was a kid. Because that's what we watch in my house. And Snake Eyes was always my favorite. And now that he's getting his own movie, I'm actually like super kind of pumped for it. Like, I love that they recast Snake Eyes, who I believe, if I can remember correctly, has been an American man.
I will check right now. He's being played in the new movie by Henry Golding.
And I love that recast. I think that's awesome because there's not nearly enough of that sort of like very Asian sort of representation, which is why I'm really excited for Shang-Chi. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like, finally!
In the past, he was played by Ray Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He played Darth Maul.
Yep. And I knew he was played by that, but I think Snake Eyes as the character was supposed to be an American man. I think. I know he's been played by an American man.
Yeah.
Well, Ray Park, not American, but you know what I mean.
White dude.
White dude. Thank you. So I'm just loving this recasting. The one thing that I'm like about is I'm like, I don't think Snake Eyes ever showed his face. So this is interesting.
In the show, the whole thing is that like he never shows his face to anybody, but this is supposed to be like the origin story, the like how does he become Snake Eyes?
Okay.
Yeah, I think basically every single person we've seen in the trailer is gonna die. I think we're gonna end up with Snake Eyes and Storm Surge as kind of our only survivors. So I'm not really going in looking to get attached to characters.
Logan, I love you. Storm Shadow.
Storm Shadow. Oh, my bad. In addition, also other movies coming out. We have Jolt, which looks to be John Wick, but about a woman. Actually, it kind of looks like it's Crank, but about a woman. Like electric shock, she loses her mind and stabs people and is going out for revenge. Being directed by Tanya Wexler, who is a female director. Yay, more of that. We also have Joe Bell, which is the story of a father. It's based on a true story about a father who walked across the country after his son killed himself for being gay. It's being directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, who is a non-white director. I auditioned for this movie way back when, and it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful story about a father trying to do right by his son. And I think Mark Wahlberg is going to give a really great performance. So I'm looking forward to that. There's also The Last Letter from Your Lover, which is two interwoven stories about love. It's directed by Augustine Frinzel and written by Esta Spalding and Nick Payne. Esta Spalding and Augustine Frinzel are both women. So yay. More women in film.
Hell yeah.
The Christmas Dance, which is a Christmas movie coming out in July, is directed by Michael Arcel, who also wrote it. He is a Black director, which is exciting. And then finally, I want to shout out both Val and Ailey. They are the two documentaries coming out this week. Val is the 40-year history of Val Kilmer in his own words. It's all the footage. Val Kilmer is famous for like being on sets with a video camera. He's like obsessed with recording his whole life. And so this is the documentary with like all the footage from like his old movies that he did, from like the Batman days, from everything of like people like there was a shot of Kevin Bacon like looking into the camera and being like, "What is that, Val?" And Val being like, "Oh, I got myself a video camera." And he's like, "Oh, you have your own camera? That's cool." And just like seeing these like guys when they were in their 20s and 30s making movies and like being artists. And then Ailey,
awesome.
of course, is about Alvin Ailey and the life of the runner of one of the most famous dance companies in the world. And the struggle that he went through being closeted while he was choreographing and being an artist. So those are the documentaries and the films coming out this week. All the rest of them will be in the description down below. Keep your eye out on those. Let us know if there's anything you're seeing this week that we should see. And speaking of things that you're seeing this week that we should see, Mr. Wade, what have you been seeing this week?
All right. Well, I've been watching a lot of murder documentaries on Netflix just because I'm just on that wave. The last one I watched was actually I'm still in the middle of it. Is The Staircase. It's creepy. This guy's wife was found bleeding at the bottom of a staircase, and you know what? His last wife was too. So, not looking good for this husband. But we will see what happens as I continue to watch.
Now, I'm no detective, but
I'm no big city lawyer.
I'm no big city lawyer.
Two dead wives found at the bottom of the stairs. It's suspect.
That's a little bit more than two characters with opalescent hair.
And there's different houses too. So
the guy he's just like, "Oh man, I just have the worst luck."
I'm just bad at stairs, guys.
Shit,
well, here's
man.
the thing. I mean, his daughters believe him that he had nothing to do with it, and they're naming him the Stairway Killer. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What you actually don't realize is that he one time when he was a kid, he jumped over a set of about 4 stairs, and the stairs took that personally. So the stairs, because all stairs around the world are connected.
They're out for revenge.
Out for revenge, exactly.
Yeah. What else have I been watching? I think I've been catching up on Dave weekly.
Nice.
And I've been listening to Sabrak, John Mayer's new album. So good, guys.
Cool.
I'm digging it. And
Cool.
Samia's EP dropped.
Scout, yeah.
Listen to the whole thing. Yeah, that's me.
Nice.
Drew?
Oh, hello. So I finished Loki last week. Oh my god, it's so good. I need to watch the whole damn thing again. My favorite episode, no spoilers, was easily episode 5, the second to last episode, which every time so good. So I was watching that. New episode of The Bad Batch came out yesterday. I have not watched it yet, but that is on my list of stuff to watch today because I'm a massive Star Wars nerd. Yeah, if you couldn't tell.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been doing that. What else have I been? I swear there was something else I was watching. I mean, I just ordered and started reading yesterday The Once and Future King in preparation for the Green Knight movie that's coming out I believe next week.
A24.
So pumped for it, you guys. You have no idea. Because just on a little side tangent, there's so many King Arthur stories that don't focus on the Holy Grail or the Lancelot Guinevere romance, and I'm so glad that they're finally doing one. Like, I'm just very excited. So
nice. That's so sweet.
Yeah, I'm reading that, doing a ton of writing, but yeah, mostly mostly Loki and the Bad Batch recently.
Good
That's
pick.
great.
Mhm.
Marvel, Star Wars, Disney.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, and I saw Black Widow last week. Fuck.
Ooh, I still gotta see it.
Yeah, I gotta
Awesome.
Still
watch
gotta
it.
see it. Yep. Logan.
Yeah, I finished season 1 of Formula One Drive to Survive. So me and Jacob have just finished the 2018 season. We're moving into 2019, trying to get all the drama caught up for this. We're watching the season in real time in anticipation of season 4.
Yep.
Go Max Verstappen. Gotta root for my boy. In addition to that, I saw Space Jam, the new version of Space Jam with LeBron James, which, you know what? Screw the haters. I like it better than the original.
Ooh.
Put my foot down. I liked it
Ooh.
better. I think LeBron James does a good job. I think it's a cute movie. It's fun. If you're expecting it to be some adult Space Jam, go away. It's for children. Enjoy it as a children's movie.
Do you think Logan is incorrect? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Argue with me in the comments section about why I'm wrong.
Please.
In addition to that, I'm finishing Misfits and Magic over on Dimension 20, which is phenomenal. Dropout TV. I also started season 2 of Ted Lasso, which dropped on Friday.
Ooh,
I
nice.
finished Lisi's story for Apple TV Plus, which
You
was
finished it.
I did. Fantastic. Solid ending. I ended up really liking it.
Okay.
It could have been 2 episodes shorter, but still solid.
Okay.
I think Stephen King did a really good job with this one. Also came out on Friday, Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow dropped Industry Baby, which is a bop. Shout out to Samia and her EP Scout, which I'm very excited about. And other than that, yeah, that's my week. That's what I've been consuming. I'm seeing Escape Room Tournament of Champions with Jacob, Mike, and Lacey on Monday.
Excellent.
So we will be able to talk about that next week.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Can I shout out one more song that I totally forgot about?
Go right ahead.
2 more songs actually. There's I'm sure everyone has heard Ed Sheeran's new song, Bad Habits. Fucking awesome.
I haven't, but
oh, it's so good. Oh, it's such a bop. I love it. I've been playing it on repeat. But there's this other guy that I only heard about coincidentally from a TikTok.
Love those.
There's this this artist named Louyah, Louyah.
Okay.
I guess in the video it was like his birthday or something, and his friends took him for a drive, and they surprised him by getting his song on the radio.
I saw that on TikTok.
Which is awesome. Yeah. And I was listening to I was like hearing that song over the radio, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a good song. So I looked it up. It's called I Used to Care by Louyah. It's actually really good. Like I immediately went and I bought it and downloaded it. It's a pretty good song. I like it.
You've actually reminded me, Drew. So I thank you. So I went out to see the show that was being played by Leah Woods, who is a former Purchase alumni. She's phenomenal. So check out her music. Also on that show was Shiloh Gold, Ryan Pete, and Troy Ramey. All 3 of them are phenomenal. I'll link all of them below. Go check out independent artists. Check out artists who aren't on the front page of your Apple Music, because they're going to be the people that are going to be on the front page of your Apple Music in about 5 years, or probably less, honestly. So check out live music when you can. If you're vaccinated, go see shows, support local artists. And then also something I'm excited about, the band that I absolutely love, known as Toxic Crew, has announced that they are going from 4 to 5. Their drummer, Jonathan Mohan, is moving to vocals, and they have brought in a new drummer who I've not gotten the chance to meet yet. So I'm very excited to see their first show back.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I'm watching and consuming this week. And with that being said, Drew, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Gentlemen, it's been an honor, truly.
Hey,
thank you for
having
having
a lot of fun.
on.
You got any plugs? I know you run a little Instagram page that I'd love to let you promote.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't posted on it in a while, but I do have an Instagram page called Toss a Coin to Your DM. It's a very Dungeons and Dragons based kind of business that I'm trying to run a little bit. It's where you can hire me to run a Dungeons and Dragons game or help you get started. I honestly have so much fun doing it, and yeah, I love it. So yeah, feel free to follow me. Toss a coin to your DM. You can follow my own Instagram page as well if you want. It's Drew Burt, DROOBERTT. I also recently got brought into the New York City Marathon. I'm running for a charity for research on an eye disease that has affected myself as well as several others in my family. So if you go to my Instagram, Drew Burt, I have a link in the description. It's just to donate money. We each need to donate about $3,000. We're making our way there. If or not donate $3,000, we need to raise $3,000.
Right.
But any money would help. Be really greatly appreciated. And if not, if you're unable to, because money's tight right now for several people, if you could just go to that link and read my little story about it, that would also be great.
Yeah, the link for all that info will be in our description, so you don't even have to like hop over to an Instagram. You can like just literally scroll down. It's right down. Yep, keep going, right there. Yep,
right there.
You see it.
Yep.
There it is. My boy has broken eyes. Help him fix them.
Help me fix my eyes. I can't see.
And on that note, thank you all so much for listening to our little podcast this week. We've had so much fun. Drew, it's been an absolute pleasure. Mwah. As always, I have been the artist known as Logan Riley Bruner.
And I'm Jacob Wade.
And I am the new Blackwolves CEO, not really, Drew Burt.
Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day, everybody. Peace.